this is an emotional thing for me. So, and it's the first time I've ever read it in public. And after I almost started crying when Nicole was reading that first and the last one. So, this story mine's actually a story, and then I spin off on a couple of little short poems afterwards on the same subject. But I was inspired to do this. First of all, my son passed away 5.5 years ago, and a friend of his put something really sweet on Facebook to me, a private message, and I printed it off, but it's so tiny I can't read it, but it says, I love him so and still to this day. And by the way, I wrote down on this paper what's on your shirt. The church has left the building. I love it. So this is titled A Blue Tootsie Pop and Love by Anne Lucero Korssjoen. This mom loved her son with all her heart, and she sat reminiscing of his sweet life around the same time of year he passed 5 years beforehand. John Joseph was loved by many his whole life, and the fact that he'd exited on his own accord sat partway between bewilderment and acceptance by loved ones. The missing went on, and Mama usually got extra melancholy around the beginning of September. So imagine how her heart warmed to read a sweet short story shared from a girl he'd adored his whole teenage life. And the story went a bit like this. John Joseph was the kind of teen who lived for those small moments, and at 18 he was growing into the tall, handsome, and easy charm that his friends adored him for. Every day after school, John Joseph would find himself perched on the bent trash can outside the gym, waiting for Stevie Rose. It wasn't the most romantic spot, but it was their spot. He'd had a crush on athletic, beautiful blonde Stevie Rose since middle school. They had been seeing each other for 6 months, and in that strange world of high school, 6 months felt like forever. He always brought her a blue raspberry sucker. It was her favorite, a detail that stuck in his head the first time they met. Stevie loved the little things, and like how the tangy sweet candy would stain her lips blue for hours. John Joseph, ever observant, made it his thing every day. He'd slip one into his backpack just for her, making sure to buy them from the corner store on his way to school. The gym had become their meeting spot after the bell rang. It wasn't glamorous. It was just a brick building with faded windows and a few lonely benches nearby, but it was private enough. Most of the other students were at athletic practice or scattered around the school grounds. John Joseph didn't mind waiting for her. He liked having a few moments to himself before she arrived. On this particular Friday, John Joseph was sitting on the same trash can, swinging his feet slightly, the blue sucker in his hand. His headphones were on, and the kind with the foam padding that always seemed to catch on his hair. And Sugar Ray was blaring in his ears, his voice wrapping around his thoughts as he scanned the empty parking lot. Stevie always took a bit long to get out of class. She had chemistry with Mr. Johnson last period, and he was notorious for dragging out lectures. John Joseph checked his watch, a Casio his parents had given him for his birthday the year before. 5 minutes late. It didn't matter. She'd come like she always did, her blonde hair bouncing with every step and wearing that oversized denim jacket that she loved. The sun was low in the sky and painted the schoolyard in shades of orange and pink. But John Joseph only had eyes for the gym doors. And when they finally swung open, Stevie walked out, squinting in the fading sunlight. A smile tugged at the corners of her mouth when she spotted him. He hopped off that trash can and waving the sucker in the air like a prize. "Guess what I got?" John Joseph said, grinning. "Oh my gosh, you're too much," Stevie laughed, and running her fingers through her hair as she walked up to him. She took the sucker from his hand, unwrapped it, and popped it in her mouth. "That's why you love me," he teased, feeling the warmth spread through his chest as she leaned into him. Well, you're not wrong, Stevie replied, her voice muffled slightly by the candy. They sat together for a while, leaning against the wall of the gym. John Joseph could hear the faint sounds of the basketball team practicing inside, the echo of the sneakers squeaking on the floor. The world seemed to slow down in those moments, as if nothing else mattered except the two of them and the blue sucker that she twirled between her lips. John Joseph didn't know what the future held for them, but in that moment, it felt like they had had all the time in the world. And for now, that was enough. Hearts warm and full of love forever. And I thanked Stevie Rose for sharing that. I said, you made a mama's aching heart glow with love of a tender-hearted son memory. And that was September 2024. So a couple of short little poems that spun off from that. You brushed my hand and the world stood still. Blue lollipop, a thoughtful thrill. Sky turned pink. Your gaze swelled my heart. Smart, lovely, kind, pretty, and smart. No need for words, just breath and light. A moment soft, sweet, and so right tonight. And another little short poem. The blue Tootsie Pop and two friends. On the edge of the gym, on a dented trash can, a teen boy sits with a plan in his hand. In his pocket, a sucker, blue, sweet, and bright, waiting for her in the cool, fading light. His sneakers scuff the dirt. His heart taps the beat of nerves and of hope in the after-school heat. The gym doors creak open, but it's not her yet. So he watches the clouds as the sun starts to set. He's waiting for love or something like that. A moment to share, a simple chat. The world feels so big, but right now it's small. Just a boy with a sucker, waiting, that's all. She steps into view, hair caught in the breeze. His breath catches too. He's weak in the knees. He smiles and holds out the candy with care. And in that small gesture, love is in the air.